Shauna Martinez here. We're gonna actually demonstrate on how to collect plants today. I have with me a tool. These are clippers. You can use scissors. You can use any kind of shears, as long as you can actually cut the stems. Please don't try to cut this, take the stems and just rip them off with your hands, because that's hard, okay? I also have a little plastic baggie. It's better to have like a 2-gallon baggie to put your specimens in, and then another bag or something you can put the specimens in when you're done. So the first thing I do, I have this plant here. This is a landscape plant. It's not your wild plant, but I'm not going to actually collect a leaf like this. A lot of people make the mistake of going, that is a good specimen to collect for my plant collection. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get a nice long section of the plant. See how this baggie isn't quite the right size for it. So just pretend I have a 2.5-gallon baggie. I'm going to cut this a little shorter. And make sure that you have the leaves that are attached to the stem. Now I know that's really, really hard in some leaves that are really big, but just do the best you can. Put it in the bag. And if you're out on a trail collecting and don't have access to your press right away, say it's in your car, what I like to do is, if you could scan down here, I put this against my leg like this, and I sort of pre-squish all the air out of it. And that's so the plant doesn't wilt while I'm in the field. And so it's kind of a pre-pressed kind of thing. I can take then a photograph of the plant in its place so we can identify hopefully it later. Put that in your bag and then you can go on to the next plant. So that one's actually a fairly easy plant. If you pan down here, we can actually look at grasses too. Grasses and herbaceous species, if they're small, can be ripped up by the roots. So you can actually go down to the ground. You can dig around with your clippers, and the same thing goes. You can put that little piece, you can actually fold this. If this is a really long piece, like, get as much of the plant as you can. Oof. That's good. See how it's really super long? You can actually fold this, put it in your bag, squish it flat, and then when you put it in your press, you can unfold it or fold it to the part. Now this grass actually has the flower on top. You can actually see some of the flowering structures on the top. That's really helpful when you're collecting plants. What isn't helpful is if you just have the grass blades. You cannot tell one grass from another by just the grass blades. You actually have to have the flowering structure. So you can take a picture, you can picture text me if you want and say, is this appropriate specimen? This one I actually have a little bit of the root. That's really good. That's identifiable. A little bit of the flower, and you put that in your bag. If we can cut it. This is actually a big long grass with the little bits of the grass flowers left in it. Again, you can fold that up just like so, nice and neat. I have some of the roots, I have the flowers, I have some of the leaves. You can put that in your plastic bag, and then that can go in your grass. It's a really good one. Now, trees have people have a very difficult time with trees, but you want a good section of tree. You don't want to cut off one of these leaflets. This is actually, unfortunately, a single leaf. So what I usually like to do on these big giant ones is you can actually take I would press all of that. If you can fit it into a bag, you can press it. Because you can always trim it up later. You can actually take a little bit of it. As long as we have leaves attached to stem, this will do. You can actually put that in your plastic bag, flatten it out, and get it in your press that way. But the more the specimen you have, the better off you'll be. So I think that'll help. If there's any questions, by all means ask.